All right, guys, welcome to the Buff Show. So today we have an awesome episode. This is with me and Austin Ure going over his investment journey. Austin recently came onto our team last year, and he's just been crushing it. So we figured we'd get him on today so he can share with you guys everything that he's doing to crush it in his real estate journey, both as an agent and an investor. So let's dive into that. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of The Buff Show. Today we have Austin Ure in the house.
What's going up? What's going up, guys? It's the new saying. What's going on?
So,
that's a good start.
It's great.
Thanks.
We're going to continue. So Austin, we wanted to get him on because he recently moved here just last year.
Yeah, about 1 year exactly.
And he messaged me like 6 months before that. He was like, hey, I think I want a career change and want to get into real estate. And originally you were talking about doing commercial stuff. But anyways, it's been impressive to see what you've accomplished in the past, not even a year yet, right?
Yeah, not quite.
Here. So we're going to dive into that. But let's start out from the beginning, where we met.
Yeah, that goes way back to, I don't know, I was probably a freshman in high school.
And I think I just got home from my mission.
Okay, maybe I wasn't a freshman, but in high school, you back from your mission.
Yeah, so my family did a trip. Well, his parents bought a lot from my parents in Morgan. And
That's true. So I would have been a senior in high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we did a trip across the United States, just touring a bunch of different places. And we went and stayed with you guys for like a night or two.
Yeah.
And I didn't know Austin before that, but we went to the gym and hung out, and it was a good time.
Yeah.
So that's where we first met, and then we continued on, but then eventually your family moved out there. Did you ever live in that house that they built there?
No, not as like my primary, but I got
Okay.
back from my mission. They were already in the new house in your parents' subdivision, and kind of just in between college breaks and stuff would spend a week or two there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So then let's fast forward. You get married to a wonderful wife. You have an awesome
she's
family,
the best.
little girl. Yeah, you guys have the best family. But you guys moved to Kansas, right?
Yeah. So in Kansas, we had our daughter. I was working a corporate job. I was a financial analyst. I did that for a couple of years, and it just wasn't a fit for me. That company's great, super stable, second largest private company in the world. It was a good opportunity. I learned a lot, but I learned a lot about what, my strengths were as well and what I needed in a career. And it wasn't in that.
You weren't feeling it?
No.
But what did you go to school for?
For finance and economics.
Yeah.
A dual degree in those two.
Cool.
Actually, a minor. I also got a minor in real estate.
Oh.
Just because with my other classes needed, that satisfied most of the real estate minor. I just had to take like one more class and then I got it. So I just did it.
Yeah, that's
and
sweet.
Little did I know.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So you're in that job, not loving it. Then what happens next?
Yeah, so we bought a fixer-upper ourselves when we moved to Kansas. We could have bought something bigger and nicer, but we knew for our first home, we wanted something where payments were easy to take care of, but also something we could put sweat equity into.
Yeah.
And so I don't remember what I was pre-approved for. I have no clue what it was, but we bought well below whatever that was.
Yeah.
And just moved in and started fixing it up. And so I would work this day job for, corporate finance, and all I could think about was like getting home and putting the finishing touches on blank project or, building this other thing or, renovating it, making it nicer.
Yeah.
And so we finished that one, and I'm like, okay, I think we probably have some pretty good equity in this house now, but like, shoot, that doesn't really mean much until we go to sell. And so then that's kind of what started our flipping journey.
Then you became a flipper.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So how long did you live in that house? You didn't live in there for the full 2 years, did you?
No, we did.
Did you?
Yeah,
Wow.
we stayed in that house the entire time we were in Kansas, and we would go buy a property that it was in decent shape, but just extremely outdated.
Yeah.
Because it was, our first few homes, we didn't want to get way in over our heads, so that was the kind of project that we were picking. So there was an agent who, I don't even know how she found us, but we just went with her off of a call, and she found us our first house that needed a lot of updating. And after the day job, we'd go over there and start working on the house.
So how many houses did you flip over there?
If you include our own, it's like 5.
Wow.
I think so. 4 true flips where we partnered with someone, bought it, lived in our own on the side,
Yeah.
and then truly flipped it in a matter of, generally it was about 2 to 3 months that we would sell
Wow.
from purchase.
So, and what kind of repairs did they need? Like, how much work were you actually putting into them?
So it varied. On the first one, we really tried to do like everything ourselves. I would say we did 90% of the work and hired out about 10%.
Dang.
But mainly they were all cosmetic stuff. So
Yeah.
like new paint. We would put in new countertops, like new granite countertops, and then just all new light and plumbing fixtures. That's
Yeah.
about it, though.
So mostly cosmetic, but
Yeah.
that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
And then you do some light staging when you went to sell. And,
Right. Yeah. My agent would help out with some light staging, and
Yeah.
it was good.
So what was your spread? Like, what's the best one you did and like the worst one? How
Mm-hmm.
much were you making?
So the market out there in Kansas, it's just like super steady. So housing is really cheap out there,
Yeah.
and so it was not very risky because you pretty much knew what you were getting yourself into as far as your final numbers.
Yeah.
So our spread wasn't these, $100,000
Yeah.
that these California flippers are doing. Or
They
anything like
were
that.
more like base hits.
Yeah, exactly. They're little base hits. And for newlyweds, like, it was awesome.
Yeah.
In 2-3 months, we'd have 10, 15 grand more in our pocket than we had before.
Yeah.
So worst one, well, that's a story within itself. We were thinking about keeping it as a rental. We uncovered some structural issues during the renovation, which led to us wanting to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So anyway, the worst one, because of that reason, it was supposed to be a rental, but we did flip it for like $9,000.
Oh, gotcha. Well, that's not bad,
Yeah, it worked out.
but not not great margins either. If the market's volatile, but
Yeah.
that's impressive. Over 5 homes,
Yeah.
you were able to do that, and I'm sure that probably the best one was the home that you were living in and lived in for
Yes.
2 years,
Yeah,
and then sold that and made had some more appreciation.
definitely.
How did you structure like the financing and stuff like that? You found
Yeah.
a partner and
Yeah. So there's a couple ways that we did it. And so just a lot of you guys watching, you may already know some of this story, but we would partner with my parents,
yeah,
and it truly was a partnership. So there's 2 ways that we structured it. In the beginning, it was risky, right? We'd never done it. We didn't have any cash reserves of our own because we were newlyweds, just
Right.
getting going. So my parents went in 50-50 on risk and profit. So they're basically just another partner that didn't have to do any work.
right,
So they would lend the money through what's called a line of credit from their bank, which would get us as a partnership a very low interest rate.
right,
And then we'd take that line of credit cash, and we'd buy properties with cash. So our offer would look really great.
Yeah.
Sometimes it would get us even a discount on what we were buying it for. And then, we'd use that line of credit cash from my parents, and that would buy it. That would pay for the renovations. And then we would sell it off and split
the
those
profits.
50-50.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah. So that was on the first 2, though.
Yeah,
And then we're like, okay, Allie and I both were like, I think like we kind of know what we're getting ourselves into. We have a little bit of cash built up now in case we take a loss or something.
yeah,
I think we can burden the risk all by ourselves. So then we transformed my parents into essentially a hard money lender. And for those that don't have parents or aunts or uncles or they don't even want to do business at all, like, I'm not suggesting that everyone goes out and gets into business with family and friends.
yeah.
If you can and it works out, that's great. But
Well, there's so many other options out there too. Like there's
Yeah.
hard money lenders everywhere. You just
Right.
got to find the right terms and
yeah,
that work. So
yeah, there are. So hard money lenders, they'll obviously want quite a bit more return on their cash that they're lending you than a typical bank would,
Yeah.
like 10 to 15%. Whereas, yes, my parents, when they were hard money lenders, they weren't as aggressive.
Right.
They didn't want 15% return.
Right.
They did want to make some money,
Right.
but it was a little bit better deal than if I went and found just any hard money lender on the street. So anyway, that's how we did our last 3 flips. Was they would lend to us and we would pay them a couple percentage points above what they owed the bank on their line of credit.
Gotcha. So they were
everyone-
making the spread.
Yeah, it was
Cool.
a win-win-win for everyone.
Yeah, but you guys were taking on all the risk and all
Yeah.
and doing all the work. No, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
So then, what made you guys want to come back to Utah and like change it all up? Because you had a
Yeah.
great job there. You were in sales,
Yeah,
making really good money. You had your flipping business that was
Mhm.
cranking.
yeah. So along the way there, I learned that being a financial analyst was not what I wanted to do for the 30 years. And so I had a leader at church who knew I was kind of going through this process, and he was working for a foundation repair sales company. And so he's like, "Hey, I think you'd enjoy this. It's good money. Why don't you come give it a shot?" And so, yeah, I applied, interviewed, and got the job, and did that for that one was a full 2 years as well. And yeah, I did enjoy it. It was great.
You were like one of the top sales guys on that
Yeah.
team, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
No, it was good. But then we had our daughter Kendall, and we knew we didn't want to be out in Kansas forever. And so it just seemed like the logical time to get back to family so that she could grow up around. We've got everyone. We've got grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins,
Mm-hmm.
all real close by. So it's been a good transition.
So you wanted to come out to Utah
Yeah.
and completely job change too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was hard because even in sales, it was good money and I could stand it, right?
Right.
It was, standable. I still would look forward the most to my flip projects.
Yeah.
And that job did afford me more time to be able to work on flip projects. But I was like, if we're moving across the country, like now is the time to choose the career path that I for sure want to be in
Yeah.
long term.
Right.
So I can get it started now while we're young and then
Mhm.
build it into something bigger later. And so, yeah, we were already flipping. I knew I wanted to get rentals at some point.
Yeah.
I was in sales. So I'm like, well, why not sell what I'm most passionate about?
Mm-hmm.
And so here we are.
Yeah. So he hit me up and he's like, "Hey, I think I want to be an agent. Do you have room? Like, do you need help?" And it actually worked out because I was in the process of starting my own brokerage, and I was like underwater on my deals, but
Well, because you were killing it. You almost
Yeah.
had too many deals
right.
for how much time in a day
Yeah.
that one person has.
Yeah. So it was, you came out and, you got your license and you got it quick and you bought a house out here, sight unseen. We should
Yeah.
talk about that too.
I trusted this guy. So you were my agent,
Yeah.
right? Well, no, you were my agent,
Yeah.
but I did have my license. Yeah. So my wife followed you on Instagram. She knew she had been following your real estate process as well, or journey, I should call it.
Mhm.
And she was like, "Hey, you should reach out to Peyton if that's what you want to do in Utah." And so, yes, we had met when I was in high school, but like that was about all I knew of you. And then that first cold call, I called you, I brought that up. You're like, "Jim in Illinois? What?
Yeah, I
Who are you?"
couldn't remember. I know.
I'm like, "Oh, great. This is awkward. This isn't going anywhere." I thought I'd pull that card, but it didn't really help me.
Yeah. I remembered after a minute. It took me
Yeah.
a second
Yeah.
to refresh. But yeah, so then he gets his license, moves out here, buys a house, sight unseen,
Yeah.
ends up being a pretty good deal for you guys.
Which for
Um,
out of state buyers, there's a lot we can do to get you a good feel for
Yeah.
properties without being here.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that deal worked out. And then you were smart how you wanted to do it because getting into real estate's tough. But you're
Yeah.
like, "Hey, I really want to shadow you. I want to like basically help with your deals." So we set up a deal where like the first year, like you would just help with all my stuff. And you
Yeah.
saw, how many deals do we close? You saw a ton of deals
Yeah.
go through the pipeline and you touched every single one of them. So you got a lot of experience really fast.
Yeah. I don't know, probably around 40
Yeah.
deals in my first 9 months.
Right.
So yeah. Yeah, it worked out perfect.
And now like you've sped up. Well, the market shifted a little bit. So like it wasn't the best time to jump into the waters, but it was actually it's been good because you saw a lot happen, and now you're like kind of out on your own, doing your own thing, crushing it. Just had a deal close last week
Yeah.
with some buyers, and then you just closed on another investment property yesterday.
Yeah.
And a cool partnership that you've set up there. So let's talk about your journey here, what you've done and how it's been going for you. Because now you've kind of shifted from the flip to the buy and hold rental process.
That's right.
So walk us through that.
Yeah. So like you said, it is slower getting started as an agent, and I knew that. And so right off the bat, I wanted to have some basically guaranteed money coming in, even though it wasn't a lot. We started to, again, partner with people to buy a couple of rentals. Mm-hmm. So I have a duplex in Roy, and then I have a single family home in the Terrace as of now.
That one was meant to be a flip.
That one was supposed to start out as a flip.
Ended up being a little bit of a flop, but
Jeez. Oh man.
But you had, I love it when you have like, hey, we have plan A, plan B, and plan C. And like, it's like, it doesn't matter which one of these. Plan A flopped, but plan B is working great.
Right. So for the viewers, while I'm in my 6-week renovation, a full basement build out, the market, that's when the big market turn happened.
Yeah. Interest rates just skyrocketed. Yeah. And I remember he's like, when he was telling me his numbers, he's like, I don't see how we can lose on this. Like there's no way we're going to sell it for less than, what was it, like 400?
Yeah.
And they had it on the market for a minute, but the market did just go like cold turkey. Like it went quiet for a minute. Yeah, really fast. But then you're like, all right, we'll just rent it. Yeah. And then like you're cash flowing. So it's been.
Yeah. And I wanted to start getting into rentals anyway.
Right.
It just forced me to get into it sooner than I thought I would be.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all good. I'm glad we have that as a rental at this point.
Yeah. Well, and it just goes to show too, like whatever deals you're working on, like have multiple avenues, like exit plans if you need them. Like don't just be reliant on like this one thing. So you were smart with that and able to turn that situation around. So
yeah, there's a lot of things that you can get creative on with a property. Like there can be a plan B, C, and D.
So in the past, you've been here almost a year. You bought a primary residence. Mm-hmm. You bought a duplex rental. You bought a flip house that you turned into a rental, and you just bought an Airbnb. Yeah, that you're gonna try out the Airbnb business, which is sweet.
Yeah, we'll try it. A buddy of mine that I grew up with, he reached out to me, and he's in commercial real estate. We have another video interviewing him, but he's like, "Hey, I love the Airbnb model. It's super interesting to me. I'd love like a ski town type of Airbnb. You think it could work out there?" I'm like, I don't know. Why don't you come out? We'll run some numbers. We'll take a look at some properties. And yeah, before he left, there was one house in particular we got really excited about. So we're going into that space and becoming hosts and learning that whole world on what it takes. It'll be good.
Yeah. When do you start demo?
Today. So that's
in like 30 minutes.
Yeah, like in literally. I came from there to do this podcast, and I'm going straight there after this podcast. So we're chomping at the bit to get in there and get started.
No, that's going to be cool.
Yeah.
It'll be cool to like have another notch in your belt too, for not only like that experience for yourself, but also using that to help other clients if they want to do Airbnbs. You've really done a lot because you've been in finance, which is key in real estate. Yeah. You've done sales, which obviously it's a sales job, but we're not your typical salespeople where it's like, hey, buy this house or or else. Yeah. It's a very different sell, but you've succeeded in the sales space. You've done flips. Your sales job was foundation repair, which is, we run into that all the time here.
It's like buyers' worst nightmare. Yeah. So they feel some comfort that I can kind of give them a tip here or there on what we're looking at.
Well, and you've done flips, you've finished basements. So it's nice to have that agent on your team that knows. They've seen like the ins and the outs of the house. Whatever you're needing to do, you're there to help them out from experience. I feel like there's so many agents that are like, they can't tell the difference between the the furnace and the water heater, you
Yeah.
know? So
Oh no.
probably not that bad, but
Yeah.
like there's just people that like
That's
they
true.
just get in because they like seeing houses, and that's not all that we do. And it's nice having that expertise where, you know, you've been in construction, you know, you've done flips, you've done buy and holds, you've done Airbnbs, and you've had like your money's where your mouth is, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So kudos to you on that and on scaling it that fast, because that's quick.
Thank you. Yeah, all the chips kind of fell perfectly for us. We're super blessed and appreciate how everything's turning out, but
Yeah.
still a lot more to do, like a lot more to go.
So where, like, what's your plan from here? Where are you wanting to go? What do you want to do?
Yeah.
Like, you wanting to buy like a Washington Terrace next
That's
apartment
the
complex?
plan. Yeah, so this summer we're moving out of our current home. Again, just like stars aligned type of situation. Our in-laws are needing us to house sit for the next couple of years. So we'll move out into their house, turn our house into a rental. So that'll be the 5th door we've had. Not that the number of doors is important, but
Well, that's 5 people paying you monthly
Yeah.
rent, which is awesome.
yeah,
In a year.
yeah,
That's sweet.
right. Yeah, it'll be awesome. So that's next, immediately next, and then from here on out, I want to do about 2 properties per year
Yeah.
and scale that way for at least the next 10 years. I don't know
Yeah.
at what point I'll feel like enough is enough, but the goal is to have that passive income be able to support all of our family's life expenses, and then have the real estate job go back into investing into more real estate.
No, I love it. That's awesome. So do you have any tips or pointers for people like looking at getting into real estate or like wanting, because it's just such a powerful tool, but I
Yeah.
feel like not very many people know about it or know how to use it. What's your advice to them?
I have a couple of clients who are newer investors, and it seems the big question seems to always come back to, well, like, how do we finance it and how do we get that next property again? So at this point, we have structured financing about 3 different ways. So again, there's 2 different ways with my parents as 50-50 equity, or the other way with them was just a straight up hard money lender type of partner.
Yeah.
And then with this Airbnb with my friend, we're bringing 50-50 for down payment and repair,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. And then we'll be 50-50 on loss and profit from here on out. So I've structured it 3 different ways, and there's way more.
There's so many ways.
There's
you
a
can do it.
lot of ways.
Yeah.
So that seems to be the biggest question on younger investors' minds. But it's hard to just tell someone right now, like in this podcast, the way to do it.
Right.
Because it depends on their situation.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like where they're at, what risk they're comfortable with, what responsibilities they're okay having.
But I think the key is no matter who you are, like I really believe everybody should have a few rental properties, a little bit of investments in that rental property space or just real estate space, whether it's like I have people crushing it in like raw land and Airbnbs, long term, short term. Like there's just so many ways to do it. But get with us and we can like connect you and educate you or brainstorm with you to find the right strategy and way that would work for you and your family to invest. Because there really are so many ways. Like we just bought an Airbnb in Bear Lake. Like we've always talked about owning something there, and then like it was kind of in the back of our minds, and then the opportunity presented and we went for it. So,
but like even you being like extremely well established, you partnered on that.
Yeah.
Right. So it still makes sense no matter what stage of life you're in to do these different structures in your investments.
I'm getting more like I was always like anti-partnerships, but now I'm getting like more and more adjusted and liking the idea of it because it just takes more off your shoulders. Like I was always a type that was just like trying to do everything myself. But if you have a partner, like you're splitting the workload too, which is super nice. So, and half of one deal is better than 0 of no deals.
Doing nothing.
Like, So it's a win-win. It really can be. So, well, I'm excited.
Well, so I will say one more plug.
Yeah.
For new home buyers, right? I think younger people think that they need to get into their own home first, get established, work for 5-10 years first before they get into investing. But the first home is actually like one of the best times to get into investing.
It is.
Why? Tell us why.
Why? Because you can own or it's called house hacking. You buy it, you live in it, and the lenders only want you to live in it for a year. You put 3, maybe 5% down. And if you house hack, you can have like an apartment in the basement, but you live there for a year, maybe collect some rent, and then you move out and rent out the upstairs. Like, even if it's not like a mother-in-law duplex style, like even if you just keep that and go buy another one, you just got a rental property for 3 to 5% down versus 20 to 25% down.
Yeah.
Like you're having to do right now.
Yeah.
You know, it's so much harder to buy investment properties when you don't own or occupy them. Like our first 4 properties were owner occupied. We just kept them, and it makes it so much easier and sets you up for like long-term success.
So I'm gonna just repeat that because I think it's so valuable. So if you don't live there, it's an investment property. You generally have to bring 20 to 25% down payment. That's huge. But if you do live there, it's called owner occupied. You only need to bring 3 to 5%. And then while you're living there, someone else is paying for like 30 to 40% of your monthly mortgage. And when you move out, you automatically all of a sudden own a duplex.
Right.
Like that is sweet.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And you've helped a few people do that recently. So
yeah, there's a few younger couples that wanted to get going on it, and for their first house, that's what they did.
yeah. So if any of you are looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, Austin's your dude.
Let me know.
He knows his stuff, and he's a good guy to have on your team. When it like just going through houses, you can be like, hey, there's this foundation crack over here. Or, hey, finishing this basement, like keep in mind of these things because you've done all those things. So
Yeah.
that you're a key component to like a real estate transaction. And you've been through some rough ones. Like you've seen meth, you've seen
Yes.
mold, you've seen like you've seen all these things. And so that it always comes up. There's never like a smooth sailing deal. There's always something that comes up. So hit him up. He's your dude. Where can people find out more about you?
Yeah. So you can go to my Instagram, Austin Ure Realtor, or Facebook. Text me. We can put a couple of my social media links down below.
I like that. Austin, your realtor.
Yeah, right. Right. Yeah. I'm your realtor.
Yeah. So anyways, hit him up. He's your guy. And till next time.
Yeah.